My name is Lindsay. I'm a pianist, a singer, a composer, and a music teacher. Let's learn some stuff. Today we're going to be learning about rhythms, note values specifically, and how to use them. This is how I teach rhythms to my singing students, but it is absolutely applicable across all instruments. We'll start with the whole note. In simple time, our whole note gets 4 beats. Ta, ah, ah, ah. When we split that whole note in half, we get half notes. Each half note gets 2 beats. Ta, ah, ta, ah. When we split our half notes, we get quarter notes. Each quarter note gets 1 beat. Ta, 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 ta. And of course we can split those into eighth notes, and each eighth note gets a half a beat. And we can write them in 2 different ways. We can write them with beams, like this, or with flags, like this. When we count our eighth notes, we count them in pairs of ta and di. Ta-di, 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 ta-di. Remember that simple time is anything over 4. So our simple time signatures are 4-4, 3-4, and 2-4. And what this means is that the bottom number, the bottom 4, refers to the quarter note. And the top 4 refers to how many quarter notes. So when you see a time signature, I want you to think the top is how many, and the bottom is what kind. How many of the beats and what kind of beats. In this case, there are 4 quarter notes, or 3 quarter notes, or 2 quarter notes in each measure. Behind me, I've written a rhythm in 4/4 time. We're going to practice counting it together. I'll step out of your way so you can take a look at it. Now, each measure is broken up by this bar line. In between each bar line is a measure. And usually each measure has the same number of beats. In this case, that number is 4. There are exceptions to every rule, but in this case, every measure has 4 beats. So we would count this rhythm like this. Ta, 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 ta-di, ta, 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 ta-di, ta, ta. Okay, and we'll do that again. Ta, 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 ta-di, ta, 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 ta-di, ta, ta. Now each of these note values can be replaced by a rest. A rest has the same value as a note, but it's silent. So our quarter note could easily be replaced by a quarter rest. A half note can be replaced by a half rest. A whole note can be replaced by a whole rest, and an eighth note can be replaced by an eighth rest. Okay? So now this rhythm would be like this. Ta, 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 ta-di, ta. The hardest one to hear is that eighth note rest. But if I switch these, let's say I wanted to put the rest here and the eighth note here, you would hear a bigger difference. So here's that rhythm now. Ta, 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 di, ta, ta, ta-di, ta. We'll go into syncopation like this at another time. There's one more note value I'd like to discuss, and that's the dotted half note. The dot adds to the value of the note to which it's attached. So in this case, the half note itself is 2 beats. And the dot adds half of that value. Half of that value is a quarter note, which is 1 beat. And that gives us 3 beats. So the dotted half note is worth 3 beats. I teach my dotted half notes this way because when we get to dotted quarter notes, it makes a lot more sense because it's a ratio. So let's take the dotted quarter note. The quarter note itself is worth 1 beat. To that, we're going to add half of a beat, which is an 1/8 note, which means our dotted quarter note is worth 1.5 beats. So now we're going to do some rhythms using the dotted half note and the dotted quarter note. Okay, here's our new rhythm. We have a dotted quarter note here, a dotted half note here, a dotted quarter note here, and a dotted half note here. This is what this rhythm sounds like. Ta dee ta dee ta, ta 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 dee ta, ta dee ta, ta. I'll do that again. Ta dee ta dee ta, ta 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 dee ta, ta dee ta, ta. Let's have a pop quiz. Which of these note values is held longer? Did you say the half note? You would be correct. Our half note is 2 beats. Our quarter note is 1 beat. Which of these notes is held longer? Did you say the quarter note? You would be correct. The quarter note is 1 beat. The 1/8 note is half a beat. Which of these values is longer? Trick question. These are equal. A quarter note is 1 beat, and 2 1/8 notes is equal to 1 beat. How many beats does this equal total? Did you say 3? You would be correct. A quarter note plus a half note is equal to a dotted half note, which is 3 beats. What note value can we put in this blank to make our equation true? Did you say a half note? You would be correct. What note value can we put in this blank to make our equation true? Did you say a whole note? You would be correct. Final pop quiz. I'm going to put a rhythm on the board, and I want you to figure out all the mistakes. Here's the rhythm. There are 2 mistakes. The first mistake is in this measure. We only have 2 beats, so we can add a half note to make it correct. The second mistake is in this measure. We only have 3 beats, so we can add a quarter note to make it correct. Let's count one more rhythm together. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and ta, ta, ta-dee, ta, ta, ta-dee, ta, 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 ta-dee, ta, ta. How'd you do? I hope learning how to count these rhythms has helped you through your musical journey. This was applicable just for simple time, 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4 times. But if you would like to see a video on compound time, where we get into 6/8 time and 12/8 time and 9/8 time, let me know. And if you'd like to see a video on complicated rhythms, polyrhythms, maybe 7/8 time or 5/4 time, best way to do that is to let me know in the comments. Happy practicing.